So we have with us Mr. Vikas Gupta, the Managing Director and Group Chief Executive Officer of VLCC. Thank you so much, Vikas, for joining us today.
Most welcome and really happy to be here, Anjana. Nice to meet you as well.
Same here. So, Vikas, reflecting on your journey from Hindustan Unilever to now leading VLCC, how have your experiences at HUL influenced your approach to leadership and strategy within the beauty and wellness industry?
So I think I say it to many people, but Hindustan Lever, is my school, my college, my university, everything that has become of me as a professional and as a person, to a large extent is because of the time that I spent with Hindustan Lever and various other Unilever companies. The journey that I've had at Unilever, uh, I couldn't have dreamed of, the experiences that I was fortunate enough to have at Unilever at the start of my journey. And, I'm forever grateful for that. I mean, and it's quite a unique journey. I don't believe everybody gets to experience that. I mean, I got to work across a variety of roles, from sales to marketing to innovation to general management. I worked in big global roles. I worked in country operational roles. I worked across, almost all the product categories of Unilever, be it beauty, personal care, home care, foods. And I got to do that living in five different countries in three different continents. So it was just, one amazing new experience, new learning, new challenge after the other. So the trajectory was just something that I couldn't even, dream. If you had asked me, let's say back in I'm Lucknow, when I was sitting for my interview with Hindustan Lever. So I'm forever grateful. And if I were to crystallize, I mean, there were like immense life learnings that I've got every day. But if I look back now, three things that truly stand apart. And that is something that is now part of my DNA. And that is something that I try to pay back as well, with whatever work I do, the people that I work with, and so on. I think the first thing which stood out with my journey with Levers was the immense amount of faith and empowerment that they put in me as a 22-year-old. At 23, after 1 year of management training, they made me a sales manager for Delhi and Haryana sales area. And when I'm speaking to my friends who had joined, let's say, a Coke or a P&G or, similar CPG companies, I could see that the kind of role that I have is bigger in scope and a level above in terms of, what was the responsibilities and what were the layers working under you. So, just the fact that for such a young person to be entrusted with such a big responsibility, I mean, in my team, for example, there were people the age of my grandfather, right? And just being thrust with that responsibility of, being a leader and earning that leadership status with them, I think that grows you, and being on the street for 2.5, 3 years that I was as a sales manager, working with the hardened salespeople, hardened distributors in a distributor trade kind of environment, it just teaches you a lot. You grow up very fast. And I think that is where, there is a lot of attrition also that happens. A lot of people are not able to, and they just leave. But the people who end up staying back, I think it just sort of makes you that much, more mature and seasoned person first, and then, a leader as well. So empowerment at a young age, I think that is one clear thing. The second thing that I believe that Levers gave me is, this transition that happened. As a young person, you think that you are the smartest person and you can solve any problem. Yeah. And you really, and my style was to roll up my sleeves and saying, tell me the biggest problem you have, I want to work on it, and I want to be the one who solves it. And I think as you grow up and as you go through many experiences, you realize, and that's because of the quality of talent which is available, that, you may be very smart, but you are not smarter than everybody that is there across the table, right? So that transition that happens from being a default problem solver to a solution seeker, right? And it's a nuanced sort of transition that happens, from saying, tell me the problem and I want to be the one who solves it, to having that maturity first that there are other people who might be able to give a better solution, and B, focusing your energies on crystallizing the problem statement or crystallizing the opportunity statement in a way that makes it very clear for the people that you're working with to leapfrog and solve it in the most creative, most ingenuous kind of a manner. So I think that again sort of propels you towards being able to do more, because by definition, if you are solving every problem, your bandwidth would be restricted. You can only work on maybe a couple of problems at the same time, or two or three things. And as you grow up, you have a large mandate. You are simultaneously working on a dozen things. That is where the ability to crystallize the insight, crystallize the question that you're solving for, and then entrusting it with the right people. I think that transition, was very important. It happened organically, but as I look back, I think that is quite a meaningful leadership lesson, quite a meaningful sort of growth that happened. And the third element, which I believe is probably linked to the first two, but it's a life learning as well, is the power of diversity, is the power of having people from different backgrounds, different contexts, different experiences sit around the table, right?
Right.
And it's because of my experiences. Let's say I went out of India, and when I worked for the first time in our headquarters in UK, within the first 6 months, it was evident to me that what has made me successful in Hindustan Lever and why I got expatriated, the same kind of edge that I had, it might actually get me fired. In a Europe kind of an environment, I think the culture is very different. You need to
Yeah.
develop new muscles. You need to unlearn a lot of things. Similarly, when I went to Brazil, in India, Hindustan Lever has, typical engineering, MBA, top institutes kind of bias in recruitment. So a lot of people were like who are your bosses, who are your peers, etc. And you go to a Brazil, which has a very similar kind of history than HUL, 80-year-old company, market leader by far, very well respected, attracts the best talent, etc. But there, a lot of people were coming from liberal arts and communications background. So you suddenly see that, oh my God, I come from one background, these guys come from a very different background. Both companies are equally successful. So, I would think from a very analytical lens, from a very left brain, because that is how I was trained in Hindustan Lever. And then I was speaking to people who were thinking in a very visual manner, who were sort of painting the big picture first and then coming to, okay. So I think, and as you work with these people, you realize, and which is linked to the previous point I was making about being a solution seeker and not always being a problem solver, because same problem can be solved in multiple ways. There might be better solutions which you may not even be capable. So having that humility to absorb it, appreciate it, and collect, the right set of people around you. So that's a life lesson. So I think these three are, to me, the biggest learnings. For example, when I went to consumer tech first in 2019, I went to Flipkart. I had, somebody who was very young and inexperienced, but because that person was a digital native, really understand the power of digital and consumer journeys, etc. I made sure that that person was my mentor. That person was like 2 levels below me in the chain of command, but I was, spending an hour every week at least with that person, just learning. So call it reverse mentoring. I didn't even call it reverse, it was mentoring, just to have that humility that I need to learn, right? And then, as I go about now recruitment, we have gone about assembling a really kick-ass management team in VLCC as well. I think my instinct is always to have, people from different backgrounds, different experiences, come together. So I think, yeah, long answer, but it's been a long journey. So difficult to crystallize it is, more than this. But these were the three life lessons that I've learned, and they stand by me and help me through my journey everywhere, including at VLCC.
Great. I think that's what is really needed. And I have to say, you have a very diverse and rich experience.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So, because VLCC has evolved into a comprehensive wellness and beauty brand, offering a wide range of services and products. So, what are some of the
Yeah.
key strategies that have contributed to VLCC's success over the years?
See, I think, first of all, one needs to be able to crystallize what is the purpose of VLCC. Why did VLCC start in the first place? And
Right.
I think we have been able to crystallize that, and I'll just mention it in a minute. But that purpose stands true today, as it stood true in 1989 when VLCC was founded by Vandana Luthra. And the
Mhm.
purpose was really help people, transform into the best version of themselves. I think the insight was that when people look into the mirror, they find things which they don't like.
Right.
And those things that they don't like are the things which hold them back. They come in the way of, people becoming, unleashing themselves onto the world. They come in the way of people fulfilling their full potential, right? And I think VLCC's mission was to help people, not letting the mirror hold them back, and saying, okay, we'll help you. Whatever you don't like, we will help you change that so you become, you know, the version that you thought is worthy of you. And that helps you fulfill your potential in the world, right? So that's the mission that has stood true. And that is, what we are doubling down on. That is what makes us successful, because we deliver most efficacious and innovative services and products, which together help people get onto that transformation journey on their own terms, right? So as the company was fulfilling that mission, I think the business model has also sort of come together in that way, because we are a full bouquet service provider, whether it is body sculpting, whether it is slimming, whether it is muscle toning, whether it is dermatology, whether it is aesthetics, whether it is skin, whether it is hair, or even basic salon services. So we operate a full service clinic where people can sort of get whatever is coming in their way today. And that is what they can change coming to VLCC's clinic. So the unit economics works because it's a full service model. It's a very strong, it's a profitable model. And I think the other element that is standing true for VLCC is the strong brand, because the brand has been so focused and it has had now a 35-year journey. The brand is imprinted in people's minds. And when we have done a research on what people associate with VLCC, the biggest thing that comes is trustworthy. And trust is something you can't buy. Trust is
Right.
something you can't say, hey, by tomorrow you should be trusting me. It takes time. It is a brick by brick. You build that wall of trust, right? So trust comes, beauty comes very clearly, effective comes very clearly. In fact, in my 25 year of work experience, working across dozens of brands across the world, I have not seen consumers call any brand effective, in any meaningful manner. So that
Mhm.
tells you that here is a brand which not only says what it'll do, but it actually delivers. People feel that they have got genuine, tangible results out of that. So a strong brand, very clear purpose, very clear business model. I think that is the strategy that we are doubling down on. We are focused at the moment on the top 10% of India, because that is where we believe, which is 6 million, 60 million households today. Any study that you see between in the next 3 years, people are saying the number will become from 90 to 120 million households. So we are focusing first and foremost on these households, because these are the households which have an income of $10,000 and above. This is where we believe there is a tipping point. This is where discretionary products and services enter the repertoire, and people want to spend and do more with themselves. So we are focused on that. And the headroom in this segment itself is so huge. Any back of the envelope calculation will tell you that even amongst these top 10% consumers, the penetration of our kind of services is less than 5%. So there is a huge way to go. So we want to make sure that most of this 10% of India experiences the transformative magic of VLCC, and really that unleashes their potential into the world. We will do that by strong marketing efforts, awareness building, because a lot of people don't even know what VLCC actually delivers. Some people think it's just a salon, and that's what we need to change. So it's a market growth, market development, education journey. And the second thing that we will do meaningful is really be closer to where consumers are. Today we have 100 odd our own clinics. We have another 100 franchisee. So it's a 200 odd number. I would be disappointed that in the next 3 to 4 years, that number doesn't cross 500 at the very least, because that's the power of India. We are seeing the traction in metros. We are seeing the traction in tier one, tier two, tier three, even towns. So we want to truly be closer to where our customers are, apart from making sure that our current clinics, attract many more consumers, and that will happen by active marketing, active education efforts. So that is the sum and substance. Of course, innovation will be a key pillar as well. We are already the innovation leader, both in our services and in our products. And we want to sort of, again, double down on that journey, bring the latest technology, bring the latest products, into the consumer's hands in the quest to deliver these transformation journeys.
Okay, great. So because you just spoke about VLCC's presence in the country, and your brand, it's also present in over I guess 12 over 11 countries and maybe 310 locations. So what challenges have you encountered in kind of expanding the brand globally, and how do you ensure consistency and quality across these different markets?
I think that is very critical, right? Because our core is a service product. I think with products, delivering a certain consistency is relatively easier because you control the quality. But when it comes to more than 3,000 people every day engaging with consumers, and taking our counseling and personalized bespoke services to them, it is a challenge. And I think that is where having clarity of what the brand is very important. So, and having some clear principles, which are repeated through storytelling, through a cultural top-down approach, is very important. For example, one of the core tenets for us is that we will deliver tangible transformation. And I think in that, we make sure that we do not overpromise. Yeah. We always tell people, let's say somebody wants to have a targeted inch loss in a particular part of their body. We tell them that we will help you. We have the latest technology, latest machines, great therapists will help you achieve that. But these are the lifestyle changes that you will need to make, if you want sustainable results. This is the kind of nutrition that you will need to have, right? And it is only a comprehensive effect of these things which will. So simple tenets like don't overpromise, don't be in the game of hyping the results, that there is some magic that is going to happen. The same thing we do in anti-aging, the same thing we do, let's say, in cellulite reduction, the same thing we do in, let's say, spot correction, pigmentation, and so on. So if you see all our advertising across products and services, you will see that we are very authentic and very transparent about what we will deliver and the role the consumer will need to play in making sure that they get these tangible results. I think the other aspect, apart from having some of these simple principles which are more cultural in nature, is having a very strong process and training, right? So we have very extensive training program where not only the new people get trained, both in terms of classroom, on the job, shadowing, let's say, people before they're allowed to engage with consumers directly. But we also do a lot of recertification and retraining. So everybody that we have, whether it's counselors or therapists or technicians, they need to get recertified every few months, right? Because consistency and quality of results is an absolutely fundamental to our business. That is where the word trustworthy and all of that comes through. Our NPS is in very high 80s, closer to 90. And that tells you that there are some things that we are doing it right. And I must say that this company has been doing that right for the last 35 years. I think we want to just make sure that we want to make it more systematized, driven through technology so that we are having that continuous feedback loop. Every time anything goes wrong, not only we solve it for that particular problem, but we take learnings about why did it go wrong. A proper root cause analysis is done, and that sort of becomes a feedback loop in terms of making our training stronger, recertification stronger. Things like all these cultural storytelling that happens from leaders at every level. All that becomes a feedback loop into that. I think it's very, very critical to deliver consistency of results.
So because we everybody, I think everybody knows VLCC as a brand. You just mentioned it's been 35 years now, but I personally haven't seen much of its advertisements. I don't remember
Yeah.
watching it on television. So how does your media mix looks like? It's VLCC is synonymous with beauty and wellness in Indian households. So
No,
what
you're
does your media?
absolutely right. Yeah. No, I tell you what has happened. I think when Carlyle invested in the company, and I was in the process of coming to VLCC. Uh, my thesis was, and the reason why I had a thesis on VLCC is because in my previous role, when I was building, the eB2B channel for Nika, where we were selling more than 250 brands. Through e-commerce to mom and pop stores across the country, I used to put VLCC in the bucket of underserved brands. And my thesis of underserved brand was, the brand is much bigger than the business it does today. Okay.
Hmm.
So, anytime we just change inputs even by 1% or 2%, suddenly we would see a 10%, 20% change in the output of the brand. So I always thought that there is an opportunity in this brand that it is probably underinvested in, and probably we are not sort of pushing the right buttons. So in the last 4 or 5 years, the brand has been a bit underinvested in, and that is where you have a right feeling that I have not seen enough of this brand. So that will change. It is already changing. You will see more of that. There is another reason, Anjana, that I would say that today marketing is more digital in nature. So we are using very strong, very data-led digital marketing, which is highly personalized by definition of it. Okay. So we might not be on TV, and we don't want to be on TV, is because we can really go, we have a trove of data. We have served more than 1.5 million consumers in our clinics alone. Okay. So 90% of our marketing efforts in the last 6 months have gone behind the digital channels, right? And that is what tells you that a lot of our new customers that we are acquiring, both in our products business through our D2C website, as well as in the services, are younger, more digitally savvy, digitally native consumers. And we want to, again, keep doing that more and more. Having said that, you will see some, the mass marketing kind of effort as well. Hopefully, when we meet in 3 months' time, you would have seen more of it. But still, I think 75-80% of our spend is going to be behind highly personalized marketing pitches to targeted consumers.
Okay, great. So, VLCC, as I just mentioned, it's synonymous with skincare and beauty and wellness in Indian households. So, how do you maintain consumer trust and loyalty? At a time when there's a lot of increasing competition in the sector, we see a lot of
Yeah.
new age skincare brands coming up in the market with different
Right.
type of offerings.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And I think the simple answer, let me answer your question. How do you keep that trust? I think you have to deliver on your promise of providing the most innovative and efficacious products and services. Okay. To that
Correct.
extent, like I said, we are always on the forefront, latest technology. We have an in-house R&D team, quite a strong R&D team. We have in-house manufacturing. We have 2 factories. So, what we are able to bring, especially against some of the new age brands, which are, literally people are getting it from third parties, standardized products, putting a marketing concept on it, putting a, nice packaging on it, and bringing it out as, God's gift to mankind. I genuinely believe that, brands are built on more stronger principles. Today,
Right.
a lot of brands are coming which are not focusing adequately on the product quality. The concepts that they are putting, is there a differentiation in their product versus another product? If you ask that question to some of these brands, and I've asked this question to several of these brands, new age brands especially, as part of our evaluation to fund those companies or buy those companies, and I haven't got satisfactory answer from many or most. Yeah, because literally where they're going is they're going to these third party providers. There is a very developed ecosystem now of packers and people who provide formulations, ingredients, and so on. And those formulations are available to literally anybody, right? So there is no differentiation from product A to B to C. I think where VLCC is different, and that is where I believe, and that is going to be continuously our focus area, is to truly bring the latest technology, our understanding of Indian skin, Indian consumer, derived from our clinics. Like I said, we have served more than 1 million consumers in the last few years alone. To take that feedback, put the right products which are working with the right ingredients, right manufacturing into people's hands. I think that is how we will differentiate, and that is where we will continue to earn our trust and truly differentiate versus the other brands. I think there are a lot of innovations that we have launched in the last 6 months alone. If you see, we have just last month launched India's first serum face wash, where we are bringing the benefit of a serum, which is a excuse me, premium category. A lot of people are aware of it, but not many people are using it. We are bringing that benefit into a commodity category like face wash, where now everybody else needs to play a catch up game, saying, do they really have serum inside their face wash? And if you don't have, then that is, like I mean, in marketing terms, we call it a base serum face wash, versus a serum face wash. And this is just one example. We are bringing another range, top of the line range, where the whole principle is that it is created by experts and not influencers, right? Because people today feel that we can just launch a brand and pay a lot of influencers and they'll talk about it and we'll get hype and we'll be able to buy some revenue. We don't play that game, because we have more than 200 medical professionals on our board. They are on our rolls. They help us. And we have very strong R&D folks who take those insights and convert it into meaningful products. So for clinic-like results, so that range is, Ananya has told me not to mention it right now because we'll be ready in a couple of weeks to talk about more of it. But that's another big innovation that is coming. So you will see a lot of action here that we are making, coming from our expertise of 35 years and all these ecosystem that we have in-house to deliver value to the consumers.
Okay, great. So, Vikas, VLCC is the only player in its domain to have the recommended by Indian Medical Association stamp of approval for its weight management programs. So, how
Yes.
does the company, the brand, ensure the effectiveness and safety of its services, and what role
I think
does
we
expertise play in shaping VLCC's offerings, as you already mentioned?
Yeah. So I think we actually work very collaboratively with the IMA and a few other bodies as well, actually, where we constantly share with them as to the way we go about delivering the results, right? And we also share with them. I told you about our NPS scores, for example. The kind of efficacy that we are able to deliver for slimming, particularly. We also measure, actual results. It's not just about consumer perception of the results, but we actually measure what is the kind of grammage loss that has happened in what period, what is the inch loss that has happened in a certain period, what is the muscle mass buildup in a certain period. So these are technical parameters that we track by each consumer. And of course, we don't share consumer data, but at an aggregate level, we are able to show, what is the process and what are the results and what is the consumer feedback from that. And that's how you earn the trust from the industry bodies as well, and not just the consumers.
Okay, great. So, as the CEO of VLCC, what are your priorities and aspirations for the company in the coming years, and how do you envision VLCC's role in shaping the future of the beauty and wellness industry, both in India and globally?
So I think we are guided by the mission to help people in their transformation journeys to become the best version of themselves. Okay. And we want to do that by delivering the most efficacious and innovative products and services. And we want to take that mission to more and more consumers, more and more people, as we go along. And in fact, we want to be targeting the younger consumers, people who are still discovering themselves, are in that space where they can do with more confidence building, where they feel comfortable in their own skin, and anything that is causing them to lose that confidence, we are here to partner them in that journey. So our vision very simply is to take this mission, to take this transformative journey to more and more people. We will do that by opening more clinics closer to
Mhm.
people. We will do that by educating people about what can they do, because a lot of people don't even know that they can
Right.
do something about it. They take it as fait accompli. So educating people that, hey, you don't need to be saddled. Not everybody is born good looking, but everybody can look good, right? Just that purpose, if you take that forward. So taking it to more people, taking it to more locations, and continuously being at the forefront of innovation and technology. I think that is how we will truly deliver on our mission of being part of many millions of transformative journeys as we look forward, both in India and abroad.